All right, time to do some research, I guess.
Hello guys, this is Grandmaster Kaiba. Thank you very much for visiting my channel.
You're
Today
welcome.
I'm bringing you this very cool first edition card made popular by the anime once again, and this one is called Jam Breeding Machine.
Okay, I'm still with you. Visit our TCG Grandmaster Kaiba shop and start building your collection today. Okay. Oh. And sold. Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-Minute Testing. If you're unfamiliar, I have a Patreon, and high-tier members can recommend decks for 10-minute testing. Usually, this is a pretty good barometer for what people want to see. That Infernoid list from the other week was actually a recommendation from that site. But occasionally, about once every 6 months, they come up with an idea so heinous, so unplayable, I have to imagine that they are secret Farfian agents out to get me. Presenting, and I can't believe this, Jam Breeding Machine.
And I finally drew into Jam Breeding Machine.
So here's the list. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, they're not paying for this one. With that, let's get breeding. Jam Breeding Machine is a card with a pretty interesting history. It's used by Merrick in the Duel Monsters anime, which maybe explains how Joey almost beat him. This continuous spell summons a slime token once during your standby phase. If you think this card sounds incredibly mid, I'd urge you to reconsider. It's actually insanely bad. While this card is active, you cannot summon any monsters at all except slime tokens. No normals, no specials, no workarounds with flip monsters. You're just done playing the game, period, and all you have to show for it is one 500 attack monster a turn. We're playing this with all the usual suspects. Solomon Floodgates, the broken draw spells afforded to ass-bad decks, Wetlands and Token Stampede in order to maybe squeeze something out of these slimes. Listen, I'm not optimistic. With that, let's get into the card by card, I guess. Lord of the Heavenly Prison is in here. When the only good cards in your deck are your back row, you need to protect them. We've got 3 copies of Reactor Slime. Fun fact, this summons slime tokens. That means you can activate its effect under the floodgate of Jam Breeding Machine, but to what end, I am not exactly sure. We're playing 3 copies of Aquarium Stage. It prevents your water monsters from being destroyed by battle with non-water monsters, which is something. 3 copies of the Breeding Machine itself, 3 Wetlands, and then 2 insanely stupid singular spells. Supernatural Danger Zone says if a non-effect monster is special summoned face up, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if this card in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one non-effect monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And Chthonian Alliance is an equip spell that gives the equipped monster 800 attack for every other face-up monster on the field with the same name as it. It's like a worse United We Stand. In fact, worse in literally every single way. There's no universe in which this card is even remotely playable while United We Stand is legal. Yet it's in our deck. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance, 3 Pot of Duality, and 1 Pot of Prosperity. We're playing 3 Dogmatic Punishment, 3 copies of the big boys when it comes to Floodgates, triple lose 1 turn, 2 copies of Token Stampede, which makes all your tokens in attack position gain 1,000 attack and be unable to be destroyed by battle, 3 copies of Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, which when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control a face-up non-effect monster, negates the activation, and if this set card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, and finally 2 Waboku. In the extra, we've got too many monsters we can't make. Canberra roster theoretically can be sent off of a Dogmatic Punishment if our opponent has, like, no high attack monsters we want to pop. And this, of course, pairs well with the Punish Boys. We've got Skull Knight and Skull Wagon alongside Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon for corner cases. So, I don't know. Wish us luck. Our first match is up against Melodious, and we've drawn full combo, about as full as a combo can look in this deck. We have a Jam Breeding Machine, for what it's worth. Now, we're going to fire off a Pot of Duality, and you're going to see that this is an older build of the deck. The Solemn Judgments were still Solemn Judgments instead of Solemn Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, and we're playing a small Mirror Magic Master package, which got cut for a reason you're about to see. We were under Duality this turn, which means we can use our Freezing Chains to bring it back, and we're going to be under Jam Breeding Machine for the rest of the game, so there's really no opportunity to develop this. The lose 1 turn will make quick work of our opponent's solo, but they'll follow it up with a cannon, and we actually don't don't have an out to that. In standby phase, it's breeding time as we draw a useless piece of cardboard off the top of our deck. Well, it turns out when you play so many useless pieces of cardboard, it's actually pretty likely you're going to run into them. We will have to punishment here to clear the field so that our slime can survive. Otherwise, what else would we breed with? We'll draw for turn, and in standby, it's breeding time, baby. That wetlands coming down will change things a significant amount, but 1700 isn't a huge attack stat. We're still on like a 2.5 turn clock. Our opponent draws for turn, and unfortunately, you can see one of the cards in their hand does have 1900 defense, so even after we Solemn Judgment this Ostinato, they can just set it in defense position as they could with any hand trap and completely wall us. Let's get breeding again, and I guess pass turn. Awesome stuff, everybody. Our opponent's going to draw for turn. It's just a tam-tam. They're going to go Couplet effect. That's going to grab them a Concerto. Then afterwards, they'll normal summon the solo and activate Concerto to make a copy of the unbelievable Sonata Schuberta, one of these people. Listen, I don't know as many musicians as I should. Next turn, that's going to be a problem for us, so we'll get over what we can. They're going to trigger the effect of the solo and get themselves a copy of Mozarta, and now they just have a bunch of vanilla monsters with over 2,000 attack that I can't get over in a million years. Here comes 9 direct, 7 direct, and we are down to our last 2 slime tokens. Didn't even have the decency to get rid of all of them. All right, let's go next. Our second match is up against Mimighoul, or as I like to call it, Mid-Mighoul. You can see that our opponent has drawn Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, and Kashtira Fenrir, 3 cards that would be fantastic against decks that were actually good. Unfortunately for them, we are playing Jam Breeding Machine, so we'll activate that, the Aquarium stage, set 3 cards, and pass. They're going to begin with a copy of Fenrir. We will punishment the Fenrir at the earliest possible opportunity, and because they elected to set first, we will Entis before I realize I got outplayed and Thrust is coming down. We draw for turn, and time to breed, baby. Down comes the Jam Breeding Machine, 5 hundo coming your way. They're going to go for Room in order to special summon a copy of Master, then they'll activate the effect of the Master in order to grab a Dragon. We'll pass back to them because we can no longer attack their life points, and then afterwards they're going to activate the Terraforming for a copy of the most powerful spell in their deck, Mimighoul Dungeon. Down comes Frightfur Patchwork. That's an interesting inclusion. Into Mimighoul Dragon, into a skill drain. From this position, they will go Room in order to bounce the dragon, so its effect will resolve. Afterwards, they're going to fire a Mimighoul Maker and do a little RNG. They get Cerberus on our side of the field, and they'll special a copy of Dragon, go to the battle phase, hit over the Cerberus, and then activate Dungeon in order to go ahead and cycle one of their monsters back as material for a big Berfomet. That's a lot of really powerful monsters, but we have 2 slimes on our side of the field. Do you ever think about that? We'll go Punishment to clear the cards that actually, stop us, including the field spell. Switch one of our monsters to attack position, and we do get to crash with the dragon. We live the battle phase because of the Aquarium stage. Our opponent's going to go to Archfiend, which has a higher defense stat than anything else on my side of the field, but the stage is going to protect our tokens from dying. We will go ahead and summon off the Jam Breeding Machine. You know what's really cool is that it summons an attack position, so we're still taking damage. They're going to attack over the slime token. We will eat the remainder of the field with the punishment, and, well, the board state has been simplified for what it's worth. Let's draw for turn, see what we get. Oh, that's a really nice one, actually. We're just 1 wetlands away from actually accomplishing something, but no reason to get too excited too quickly. Our opponent's going to once again walk into our Aquarium stage with this copy of Edge Imp Chain. What do we draw off the top of the deck? Mirror Magic Master. Oh, man. You know what's cool is the Jam Breeding Machine's effect is mandatory, so it will trigger even if your board is full. We'll get an Ash out of our opponent's hand, switch our last remaining slime to defense position, and it's time to play the waiting game. Our opponent draws. We draw. Anyone read any good books lately? They're going to set an Infinite Impermanence in the same column as the skill drain. Don't worry, I don't intend to ever give them an opportunity to flip that bad boy up. You can't negate the effect of a slime token. They'll tribute summon a Kashtira Unicorn and walk over the last remaining monster with an effect on my side of the field, meaning that this copy of Jam Breeding Machine puts me in a pretty great position. We'll just pass here once again. What do I care? Our opponent's going to go to the battle phase and walk into the slime token, do a fair amount of damage, and then pass back to us. What do we have? Oh, God, wait, hold up. Maybe we can actually do something here. We'll set 1 card and pass back to our opponent. They draw for turn, and then they're going to set 1 card and pass back to us. Oh my God, we did it. Okay, Wetlands. Wetlands is one thing, and Token Stampede is another. We'll go to the battle phase, flip up 2 Token Stampedes, and now we can finally get over our opponent's monsters and get in for lethal. We did it. We did it. It's over. Thank God. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on Fiendsmith Yubel, and let's not waste any time. They're going to go 1 for 1 into a Samsara D Lotus. Lotus for Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel effect in order to grab a copy of Nightmare Pain. They'll flip up that bad boy and then activate the effect of the Nightmare Pain in order to grab from deck to hand a copy of Mature Chronicle. That'll trigger the effect of the Spirit of Yubel for Yubel. Then afterwards, they'll activate Mature Chronicle, afterwards squirming to their side of the field before going for the effect to cycle the Yubel for a Terror Incarnate. Here they're going to go for a Moon of the Closed Heaven into a Requiem effect into the Fiendsmith, and they can reattach the Requiem in order to fulfill the requisite material on Necroquip Princess. They're then going to make a copy of Phantom of Yubel and then activate the effect of the Mature Chronicle in order to banish that Yubel from deck, activating the Fiendsmith in order to summon itself, and going into a copy of Yama. Yama here is going to grab Sharvara, and then they'll activate the effect of the Grave Squirmer in order to bring back Spirit of Yubel and link off for a Rage. Sharvara targets Spirit, of course not a once per turn, so Spirit will trigger, as will Yama. That's going to grab them both the Spirit of Yubel, and they will also go ahead and grab the Yubel as well. They'll go for the effect of the Rage here in order to cycle back the Fiendsmith and activate the Fiendsmith. They're going to go for Fiendsmith Tractus here and then pitch a Lurie. They'll activate the effect of the Lurie, summoning it to their side of the field, going into a Sequentia and then Sharvara effect in order to send a copy of Abominable Chamber to their side of the field. Sequentia for 3, they're going to go for the Desiree, and then afterwards they'll overlay for a Verudrus, activate the Sequentia effect on field to equip to the Desiree, set 1 and pass. Don't even have room for the called by. Things aren't looking great. Will Pot of Extravagance here. And they let it go. I think getting the Verudrus Negate was our only possible win condition. They're going to go for Verudrus Negate here, and then afterwards we'll activate Jam Breeding Machine, Aquarium Stage, set 2, and out comes the Unchained Soul of Rage. Okay, cool. We'll pass back to our opponent. They will switch everything to attack position, activate Dark Beckoning Beast in order to grab their gate. We'll activate Rivalry. They will Desiree, and we don't have an answer, so let's just scoop them up, I suppose. Oh, what the heck. Let's let them get in for lethal. They're going to extra normal the Dark Beckoning Beast into Moon of the Closed Heaven, and then they'll go battle phase. That's 28, 3, 18, 12. Okay. This time for sure. Man, this Swap Frog is doing hot nothing. We'll go for Pot of Duality here, finding off the top. Oh, jeez. I mean, you are seeing why we are not playing it anymore. Swap Frog sending a copy of Mirror Magic Master to the graveyard. Let's activate the effect of the Mirror Magic Master in order to grab Freezing Chains, activate Jam Breeding Machine, and wow, what a cool setup combo, Joseph, that does nothing. We'll set 2 cards and pass back to our opponent who has drawn Harpy's Feather Duster. All right. So we're back with the deck, and honestly, I'm surprised it even got one. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. And the cons. 1, it is literally a full summon lock. You can set, but you can't normal, flip, or special, except for slime tokens, and there's literally only 1 card in the game that summons them. Of course, you can't even summon the machine if you already have the tokens on field, so there's even a sequencing problem in this setup. 2, you don't even get a token every standby phase. The machine has to survive to your own turn, meaning your opponent has to read the text on the card and elect not to destroy it, though realistically they may just do that. And 3, the Reactor Slime can't even use its graveyard effect, as Metal Reflect Slime is not a slime token. All in all, don't make me do this again. So that's that. A huge shouts out to the individuals who make these videos possible, most notably my Patreons. The high tier ones are in front of you right now, and I will read their names as contractually obligated. First up is Slifer274, followed by Elena Tincher, Alex Perea, Allison Elliott, Ally, Brett Henry, Darkmaster Zork, Derpin Dragon, Devin Senpai, DJ Elefante, FPS Lord Derp, John Piet, Killer Croc 467, Night Mary, Legal Rights, Lockstone, Luis Hernandez, Lullaby of Souls, Master of Faster, Matthew M. Derezzo, MBT Play Madolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho Gonzalez, Nebulo Yu-Gi-Oh!, Project Mercury, Rose Lapine, Troy Says By Erasure is Gay, Who's Nick, Wonder Waffle, Your Pot of Greed Does What, and Yuki. Couldn't have done it without you. I wasn't lying, by the way. I really bought that card.